Hi, everybody. Welcome to our webcast this evening, Unscripted Travel with Club Adventures. My name's Brian Murray, the Director of Travel here at AAA, and I'm delighted you're spending some time with us this evening. You know, this COVID-19 pandemic has hit the world so hard, and one of those areas is the travel industry. We've been seeing many disappointed travelers whose spring and summer vacations have either been canceled or postponed, but we're resilient and we'll all get through this pause. What we want to do today is share some great information about travel. And while we may not just be ready yet, we want to help you dream about your next vacation and inspire you to think about all the possibilities. I do want to share with you that you're in listen only mode. However, if you do have any questions, please feel free to type them in the question box and we'll be happy to entertain them at the end of the program. If we don't get to your questions, don't worry, we'll reach out to you specifically and address your question as well as a follow-up to the webcast. I also want to offer all the participants on the webcast $100 booking savings if a new reservation is made by June 15th. So let's get going. I'd like to welcome Dan Campbell, Director of National Accounts with Club Adventures. Dan, thanks so much for joining us.
All right. Thank you, Brian, and good evening, everyone. And again, my name is Dan Campbell, and I am the Director of Sales for AAA Exclusive Vacations and what's called Club Adventures. And again, thank you for joining me tonight, and I hope everyone is certainly safe and well, and you're all really starting to dream about moving forward and traveling once again. And this is what it's all about. And, you know, we've been, as far as at Club Adventures, doing things to help us keep inspired during this time of ups and downs as far as positivity and negativity, and just some of the things that we have done to keep us inspired, just sharing them with you, to inspiring us about travel is one, to get out those old souvenirs from past trips and utilize those the best you can. I have a mug that I got from Peru that I've been using just because it keeps me thinking about Peru, and I'm actually using it right now for my water. And if you hear me stop talking, it means I've taken a drink from my mug. But in any event, you'd be surprised what inspiration you get from those old souvenirs. And another thing that we've been doing as well for inspiration for travel and inspiring us to travel is sharing recipes and things that we've gotten from different trips that we've been on from each other. And I just shared one when I had gone to Italy, and reason why this photo is here, of a pesto making class that I had gone to and shared out to some of the reservationists that work with Club Adventures, because it excites us about talking about travel. And if that is any kind of inspiration that I give you, hopefully that'll work for you to get that happiness back. And travel obviously is a happy thing. And this evening, I do want to talk about Club Adventures, but mostly I'm going to talk about, at least half of the presentation today will be about the United States and North America itself. But I do want to also talk a lot about Club Adventures in an overview. One comment or one thing I want to say is, hey, I'm going to be talking about the United States, but this photo that you're seeing right now is of Italy, and a Cinque Terre of Italy. The biggest reason why I'm showing this is because I am on the right. I know it's just my back, but I at least wanted to give you a glimpse of who I am and what I look like, just because I know you can't. And you know, hey, Italy's great, and if you have a chance, please go. All right, so let's go. All right. I know most of you have never heard of Club Adventures, I believe, so why Club Adventures? And the best way for me to answer this question is by providing an overview of what exactly Club Adventures is and what makes it unique to other tour companies. So I'll do that, and then what I want to do is walk through two of our unique USA trips and provide you with what makes those unique over a standard motor coach tour itself. All right, so let's go back to 2016, the roots of our story. And the roots of our story begin with AAA Exclusive Vacations. AAA Exclusive Vacations wholly owned by AAA. In fact, Club Adventures is as well. But AAA Exclusive Vacations was built by AAA because we wanted to offer out theme trips to our AAA members. And some of the trips that I'm talking about, Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta and Tour of Rose Parade, they're both 5-day great trips that you'll enjoy if they're on your bucket list. I'm not going to go into these trips at this point. If you're interested, ask some questions later on about the trips, and or more importantly, talk to a travel agent if you're interested in going to the Balloon Fiesta or the Tour of Rose Parade. That's through AAA Exclusive Vacations. Reason being, want to focus mostly on Club Adventures. All right, so Club Adventures, back about a year after AAA Exclusive Vacations was created, we started looking at this trend in travel, small group adventure travel that seemed to be hitting as far as a big trendy type of travel for people. And really what it was all about was seeing a destination in a much more local lens, getting closer to a destination, going deeper, creating more memories, creating more authentic, real type of trip over a standard sightseeing trip. And that's what seemed to be hitting with a lot of people as far as what they wanted to do. They wanted to see a much more real type of trip. And when I say a local lens, what we're also saying is creating new sights and new sounds and creating unexpected new experiences. And you can only do these through small group type of experiences. So that's why we created what's called Club Adventures. And what I want to do is talk about this, but just roll it up in a nutshell. And here is what makes us different, those bullet points. Now, in a nutshell, what creates Club Adventures is one, small group travel experience. 16 passengers is our max when it comes to travel. Some of them even have less, but 10 to 12 is our average tour size, but you'll never have more than 16. Why? Because you can't create a real experience with 50 passengers on a trip. Local leaders, another real important item. Local leaders live and breathe in that destination. They want you to connect with the destination. They're connecting you with people of the destination. They become more of a friend than just somebody guiding you around. That's what local leaders and why the local leader is so important. I'll talk more about local leaders as we move forward. Meals that matter. So when you go on a tour, you quite often are given meals that are in a touristy area. There's 100 tables in the place that you're eating. If it's not in a hotel, and you're given some type of meal. A lot of times it's an option of this, this, or this. The meals that we offer are meals that are going to connect with the destination. Pesto making class, like I had said before, a home hosted meal where you're having dinner with a local family and you can only do that in a small group. Or just meals in a local mom and pop establishment that has only 10 tables where you're having a real local meal like in the Andes or up in Cusco in Peru, things like that. So that's the type of meals, a more authentic meal that we want you to have. And if we're not offering a meal, we're giving you a list of places that you can have, that you'll have a very interesting meal experience. Authentic connections, those real connections with people. There's nothing better and nothing more real in a destination than connecting with people. Sightseeing is fantastic, seeing sights are fantastic, but when you connect with people that live in the destination becomes more from the heart, it becomes more memorable. And that's what we try to do. That's the local leader's objective, is not to just guide you on a tour, is to connect you with their family, their friends, people in markets. So you are constantly connecting and understanding what it is to live and breathe in that destination. And that's the kind of connections that we try to create. Inspired experiences. Those are the experiences that we just come out of the blue and just do, those different activities like trekking for wolves in Yellowstone, or doing a float trip down the Snake River, and doing those just different experiences and start discovering nature when it comes to the US, and different types of experiences. Even just going and watching the sunset out west, and creates just a feeling in you, an experience that you will remember just by watching a sunset. So those are the type of experiences that inspire you and make you feel something over just see something. Traveling unscripted, quick thing here. Working for Club Adventures, quite often when people travel, when they come back, I ask them, what was your favorite part of that tour? And a lot of times it's the experience during the time that we gave them for free, as far as the time open to them. And that's because it's creating their own particular memory. And yes, we do see the great pieces of a destination. And yes, we do some different and incredible activities on our tour that are included. But it always seems to be those unscripted times that allows that person to have their journey met, because everybody, all of us, have a different journey and different needs and different wants. And if we're going to sit there and tell you what you want to see day by day by day by day, it kills that dream, and you're going back and showing photos of just things that you saw. We're trying to create memories of things that you did and wanted to do. And I have a lot of stories there, but case of time, I can't tell them, but I could go on and on talking about stories of people with their things that they did during our tour. A couple of other little things that we just like to tell you is, if you deposit on our tour, we have something called movable deposits. So if you decide to go on one of our journeys in end of 2020, and you decide, hey, I don't want to do that, and you deposit on it, well, we can move it without any type of penalty. We'll move it, we'll change the trip, we'll change the date, whatever you want to do, no questions asked. That exists all the times. You can do it. We have 2 years to use it. So it doesn't create any hardship as far as losing any type of deposit. And then last, which I know everybody loves, including travel agents, is our guaranteed departures. We go on one person. As far as if you deposit on our trip, you are going on our trip. I do want to say, as far as over the last couple of months, we have had to cancel things, but that's due to the fact that we could not run. It became impossible to run. That is the exception, obviously, over the general rule. In a given year, travel, we're going, and that's what it's all about. All right, so that gives you a little bit of an idea of what we're trying to do on our small group adventure tours. I do want to talk quickly about our activity levels, because people have a different idea of what type of tour and what we're doing on these tours. Well, our tours range from activity levels 1 through 5, and we have some low activities that happen. We have some high activities. So we rate each tour based on some of the activities, but also based on the terrain. On level 1 tours, anybody can do. They're free and easy. You have any mobility issues, that's not an issue. If we are a level 1, you can do that tour. The majority of our tours are built as level 2s and level 3s. Level 2, some light walking, you may experience some uneven terrain. We're going deeper into a destination. We're traveling in smaller groups, hitting the tourist spots, but then passing the tourist spots and going deeper. That creates a little bit of some terrain things. So just keep that in mind. We have all age groups traveling on our tours. If you can just get around by walking, you can do a level 2. Level 3, a little more walking, a little bit harder terrain. Our national parks tours that we're going to talk about are level 3s, due to the fact that they're national parks and the terrains can be uneven, but we may do a bike ride here and there. We're always trying to accommodate everybody as far as physicality on all our levels, but just keep that in mind as far as level 3, the terrain, and we'll be doing some walking, stair climbing, things like that. I'm not even going to address 4s and 5s, high activity, high adrenaline, high impact. We have a few for those high impact type of people, but we really focus on our general people who want to get out and just do things instead of just sightsee and experience and live a little. All right, so let's talk more about small groups. And really what I want to do is tell you about the advantages of a small group. Now, when you have 16 passengers or less, what are the advantages? 1, you get to know the people in the group. Now that is the largest our group is going to get, that image on the right there. So you having dinner with them, you're doing some activities with them, you're getting to know these people, you're seeing some things together, you're sometimes crying together, but you're getting together just in that small group family type of feeling. So that is an advantage over 50 people on a bus where you're just sitting next to one person or 2 people all the time and you're not really getting to know everybody that's there. Another advantage, your local leader, you get much more personal service with your local leader. That's why they end up becoming more like friends than they are as someone guiding you around, because they become just a person on the tour who happens to be in charge of the tour, but ends up being a friend on the tour because you have that time and you're getting that personalized service. You feel much more important because they are catering now to you and a few others. Like I mentioned before, we're going deeper. You get to go to places a large group cannot. You are going into the alleyways, the things that you do not know are the people do not get to see. You get to go further. You're just getting to be more mobile, more involved with what's happening in the destination itself. That's the advantages of the small group. And you get to experience those local cooking type of things, like I mentioned before, as far as meals that matter. You get to go to the local cooking classes, and you get to experience, staying at home. Having a home hosted meal with people. That's the advantages. Large group cannot do that. If you do that, you are now doing a side excursion from the group itself, and that, paying more money. This is always included, this type of stuff. So keep that in mind, that this stuff are happening because of the size of the groups that we create. So that is the major advantages of what makes our small group experiences special. All right, so hopefully that gives you a little bit of idea of what we're all about. And in case you're still wondering what small group adventure travel is really like, I usually show a video here. It kind of lets me create a little bit of a rest here, but I'm going to tell you a story instead. And really this comes from my heart as far as the experience that I had, why small group adventure travel to me makes sense. And it really happens from a trip that we had that I did to Croatia, in that area of Croatia. So when I arrived, our local leader met us there. And our local leader, and this is every local leader, but this just happened to touch me quite a bit. But our local leader is very proud of where he comes from and where he lives, like everybody else is when they are proud of their country and who they are and what they become, and they're proud of their families and friends. And that sense comes across when you're living and breathing in the area that you're showing people. And what he happened to do, and what he does, is he brought me and the group to his home. And that's the advantage of traveling in a small group. You can just kind of do things. And met his wife, and you get to meet his kids. Now, really, that's great. It's personable. It's fantastic. But he also has something that he wants to talk about. He wants to talk about his life, and his life is about the breakup. He was a little boy during the breakup of Yugoslavia, and he saw war, and he grew up as a little boy seeing war, and You get to meet his friend, his family and his little kids. And, he walks you out. He shows you where the artillery shells hit his home and what he remembers and what he grew up listening to and feeling. And that's what makes these trips so special, because they hit you more in the heart. You're not just visualizing a place like the Taj Mahal, which is great in itself, but you're now seeing something that comes from the heart and hearing something that comes from the heart, and you're realizing that this is a person that I now know and getting to know, and I'm getting to know about him, and it becomes more of a meaningful thing to you because you're realizing we're just people going through life, and you almost feel like you're having a movement in yourself as far as life because of the stories that you hear. And that's why I love to tell this story. And there's a lot of other stories that I can tell just like that. But that's the best way that I can explain what small group adventure travel is like, because that's the experience that you have on our journey. All right, so let's move on. It's going to take a minute. Okay. All right. So, so what I'd like to do right now is walk you through our 2 U.S. tours, because what we believe with everything that's happening, we believe that it's important to talk about the USA and getting out there in the USA, because we believe that that's the first interest that people may have in moving forward with travel. So I do want to talk about our 2 popular trips that are out there in the USA. So I'm going to walk you through those, and I'll provide you with a good idea of how our trips differentiate from other tours themselves. And I think if you just listen to the day-by-day itineraries of these tours, you'll get a good idea of what you're doing over a standard motor coach tour. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is the first tour we're going to talk about is the Grand Teton and Yellowstone Explorer. Both tours I'm going to talk about today, as far as the U.S., are 8 days and 7 nights tours of the regions, and they're both levels 3. Reason, talked about it before, because we're now dealing with national parks. And terrain in national parks, although they do the best they can be pretty rough as far as walking wise and getting around. Both trips are done by small little private coach, so keep that in mind. Now, the tour itself starts and ends in Jackson Hole, and that Jackson Hole is nestled just south of both Grand Teton National Park and Yellowstone National Park. And it's a mountain town where you're going to start your journey. You'll meet your local leader. You get a chance to see the town. It's a great little town, but you'll meet your local leader. You're going to have a dinner that night. You're going to break bread with the other people on the tour. Now, both tours only actually have 14 people, so you're not even at 16. You're actually running these tours at 14 people. So you're going to have a great night. You're going to have dinner that night. And I just want to give you a little bit of a tip here. And if you've never been to the area, I do want to let you know that Jackson Hole is a great little town. It's a great little mountain town. So I do recommend you doing a pre-night in Jackson Hole. So much, there's shopping, there's dining, there's a lot of relaxation type of opportunities you can do, a lot of physical activities if that's what you're interested in to do in the region. But it's just a great town and a great place, starting point to start your journey. All right, so recommend that. Not necessary, but it's always a great way, and also a great idea, because sometimes things happen with airlines. So if you have that day that's already booked, you're not going to miss the actual start of the tour itself. You don't want anything to happen at all, but sometimes things happen. All right, so moving on, as far as you arrive in Jackson Hole, and then your second day, you are gonna have two options in Jackson Hole. You're gonna have a high or low adventure activity to do that that second day of your arrival. So if you choose to do the high adventure activity, you'll journey along the Snake River on an 8-mile whitewater rafting expedition. You'll see the stunning scenery as you take rapids like Big Kahuna, um, Lunch Counter, which both are category 3, or excuse me, class 3 rapids. The majority of the trip are class 2 rapids. Those two happen to be class 3 rapids. Overall, the trip is a lot of fun for your general fitness person. You don't have to be just any ordinary person who wants to go out and do a whitewater rafting trip. It's for any regular Joe who wants to do, whitewater rafting. This trip is for beginners as well. You don't have to worry about not having whitewater rafted before. So keep that in mind. It's a high activity, but it's meant to be for everybody. Now, if it is not for you at all, if you're looking for a little bit of a more lower activity type of option, you can just take a scenic float trip where you can just relax, enjoy the paddle down the river, see the wildlife, see the scenery, relax. Maybe you'll jump off the little float trip, take a little swim, things like that. But that's your low activity if you want to do that. So either or, it's your option. You can even opt not to go do this if this is not your thing. But that's you'll work with your local leader and give you another option. But either or, trying to make this for everybody as far as having a great experience. The afternoon after this trip is all yours. Have a nice lunch. Go maybe visit the wildlife art museum. It's a fantastic art museum located in Jackson Hole, or do whatever you want to do. Just shop, whatever you want to do. So you'll have a whole evening to yourself in Jackson Hole. All right, so making it on to day 3. It was when we make our way up to Grand Teton National Park. Well, we'll do 2 nights. We'll stay at Jackson Lake Lodge for those 2 nights. The first day, we're going to be visiting the Teton Raptor Center. And the Raptor Center was created to assist injured raptors who have on their way to recovery. And we'll have a great discussion with people where we can understand what happens right from where the raptor comes in, who's injured, right to the release of the raptor. So you can understand how the whole raptor center works. So great experience there. And then in the afternoon, we're actually going to make our way into the park itself and meet with a geologist. And the geologist is going to give you a good idea of how the Grand Tetons were created, and what the geology is like of the area itself, because it is actually even volcanic as far as the whole area. So you'll learn all about the territory, you'll learn all about the area, so it's a great experience. So as you go and appreciate the Tetons themselves, you can understand how it was created by meeting with the geologist. All right, so day 4. We're going to spend a full day at the Grand Teton National Park, but it's going to be totally unscripted to what you want to do. And there's so many things that you can do in the park itself. And we'll meet with our local leader talking about who will assist us in what we can do and want to do in the park. And we're going to start off at the Craig Thomas Discovery Center, which is a great start-off point to know what all the ranger-led tours are, and you can take whatever tour you want to. That are offered, so many different types of tours that are offered out there. And if it's not something that you're looking for as far as a ranger-led tour, if you're looking to be a little bit more active or a little bit more on your own, maybe you want to do a hike around the scenic loop of Jenny Lake. All right, and that could take a couple hours, but that's a great hiking type of experience if you're looking to up that level of activity. Maybe you want to rent a boat on Lake Jenny, a canoe or a kayak. Now, just point of reference, if you do want to do that, you want to get there early, because I know that they do rent out very quickly, so you want to get out there early. But I can tell you right now, when you do that, you'll have the best photos of the Grand Tetons that you'll ever imagine, and nobody else, the majority of everybody else, will not have those photos because they'll be taken on the lake. So think about that. But you know, a great experience, a different experience. And when everybody comes back, this is what makes this special. When everybody comes back that night and you're having dinner, everybody's telling different stories of what they did and what they saw and the experiences that they saw. And that's what makes it special, because a lot of people had different experiences. Maybe some people had the same experience because they went together on the trip, but there's a lot of difference because a lot of different ideas of what their great trip out to the Tetons should be. All right. Our next 2 days of our adventure will take place in the magnificent Yellowstone National Park. And what we'll do first on the first day is we're going to visit all the famous things to see and do within the park itself. Yes, we'll making you sure you see Old Faithful and watching the geyser erupt at least once anyway. We'll go to Mammoth Hot Springs and see the hot springs area. Mammoth Hot Springs is amazing. So that's an area we'll hit. And we'll also take a short hike to the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. This is a hike that everybody has to do if they want to see the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. Not a long hike by any means, just up and down a hill. That's from what I remember. But keep that in mind. Great, great, stunning views of the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. All right, so next day in Yellowstone, we will be trekking wolves with a park ranger in Yellowstone. And what a great different type of experience you will never get on a motor coach tour. And what you're going to be doing with the park ranger is trekking for wolves, and you're going to be learning about the impact of wolves that wolves had on the ecosystem of Yellowstone. The impact from their loss when they almost became extinct within the area itself, as well as the impact that it's having now. So you'll learn both the goods and the bads of what's happened, because when you have a predator go depleted, it changes ecosystems. And when they have been introduced, it affects the ecosystem as well. But with that being said, for me, having wolf packs being brought back to existence is such a special thing. And to go be able to see those packs is just, on honesty, I haven't done this yet. It's something that really would be a special trip and a meaningful trip for me, and hopefully for you as well. All right, so once our trip in Yellowstone is finished, we'll make our way back to Jackson Hole. We'll have a great goodbye dinner in that area. And then we'll, next day, we'll leave on our flights back from Jackson. And if you're looking for a post night to stay in Jackson, we can do that extension as well. All right, so that's our basic trip of the Grand Teton Yellowstone area. Now we also offer another trip, which is great if you want to see the best of the Southwest. That's our National Parks of the Southwest trip. Again, 8 days, 7 nights, and you're going to see Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon, as well as the Grand Canyon and Sedona. Now this trip, regardless of your level of physicality, if you want to make it easy trip within these parks, or you want to make it, you're an avid hiker and you really want to go out and see the deep parts of this park, it can be handled for you, whatever your level of activity is or you want it to be. All right. Now the trip itself begins and ends in Las Vegas. Now, just like Jackson Hole, You'll meet your local leader. We'll do a great dinner, and we'll actually visit the Fremont area and watch the light show within the Fremont area as well. But you have the afternoon and day to see Las Vegas. Again, I'm going to give you a tip and do a pre-night in Las Vegas. And maybe you want to do a post-night, but definitely try to do a pre-night in Las Vegas. Maybe you'll take in a show or go out. There's plenty of activities as far as hiking and stuff right outside of Las Vegas if you want to really do more hiking than you're going to do as we talk through this. But great place to hang out in the entertainment capital of the world, right? All right, so moving on, as far as our first 2-night stay will be at Zion, which is Utah's first national park. Now, during your time in Zion, majority of it is going to be unscripted and for what you want to do in Zion National Park. Now, maybe you want to, again, work with the park ranger and do a general tour, a led tour of Zion National Park. Or maybe you want to visit the Zion Human History Museum that's located in the park as well. One thing I do recommend, and this is an absolute must, is that you do visit the Narrows, which is the narrowest section of Zion Canyon. Now, the canyon walls which is pictured here, rise up 1,000+ feet to where the Virgin River passes through. So the walls go up 1,000 feet from the Virgin River, and some of the areas themselves, as far as the river, is only about 20 to 30 feet wide. So it gets very, very narrow. Now, all levels of fitness can visit the Narrows themselves. But if you're looking for a more interesting, as far as hiking experience, you can hike the Narrows. Now, you're seeing the picture here. This is what happens. You do get wet. Your feet get wet because the trail itself is the Virgin River. So think about that when you're thinking about this hike. A lot of fun, but you want to have a hiking stick. You want to have proper shoe wear because you want to keep yourself standing up straight. Now, most people, when they decide to do this hike, usually hike upstream for a little while and then hike back the same way they came, because it is quite a far journey. But if you are an avid hiker and you want to do the whole journey, you're welcome to. There's 2 hikes, one that's 10 miles and the other that's 16 miles. And you're welcome to do that. Whatever your physicality, whatever you feel like doing, it is totally up to you. Now, the Narrows is the busiest section of the park, no question about it, as far as what people want to see. Now, if you're looking for something, hiking or doing hiking that's more secluded, there's a huge amount of hiking trails within the park itself, from very easy to really, really expert. So think about that. The other trail that I do want to talk about here is Angel's Landing trail. Now, this trail is amazing. It's an amazing trail. It gives you 360-degree views of the canyon itself. One thing I want to mention is you need to do this hike early because it does get crowded. The other thing that I want to mention, and is that this hike can be very unnerving because there's drops on both sides of the pathway of this trail that are very steep. And they do have a guardrail that you can hang on to, but I suggest before you do this hike, you may want to watch a video. It is an amazing hike. The views you'll get are phenomenal, but it can be a little unnerving as far as the journey itself. All right, so that's our time in Zion. Our next stop will be at Bryce Canyon National Park. Now, Bryce is not a single canyon. Actually, it's not a canyon at all, but I'm going to leave that secret for you guys when you go there to understand what's happening here. But we're in general, it's a series of natural amphitheaters or bowls that are created. Now, the most famous of these amphitheaters or bowls are filled with irregular ended spires or rocks called hoodoos, which are pictured here. And I'm going to give you a little bit of Native American lore and just say that the belief by the pirate Native Americans that these red rock hoodoos were actual mythical evil legend people who were turned to stone by the all-powered coyote spirit. Now that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave the rest of the myths and the lore for when you journey to Bryce Canyon, but you'll definitely find out who are the legend people, what were they. You'll definitely find out what the heck is the coyote spirit, and you'll learn all about the Native Americans, excuse me, who lived in that region at that time. All right, so moving on from Bryce Canyon, we'll do a stop to explore the Grand Canyon. We'll do a nice, and this is the south rim of the Grand Canyon. And we'll do full day exploration. We'll do a tour of Grand Canyon. Really not a hiking time for our visit to Grand Canyon, but we will do a stop at the Grand Canyon. Now, you'll get the full afternoon, and then we're going to make our way on to Sedona. And I was going to show a video of Sedona and what it's like if you have never been. But because I really can't show video here, I'm just going to have to give you a little bit of explanation of what's going to happen in Sedona. I don't have a picture either. So Sedona is Red Rock country. It's a beautiful area, and there's so much to do, just like Jackson Hole, within this whole Red Rock Canyon region. A lot of Western movies, a lot of art was all done in this area. And there's what you can do is go to there's art galleries there. There's also the belief that there's spiritual vortexes that happen in Sedona. So you can even go to a spiritual advisor if you like. But there's plenty of hiking within the Red Rocks. There's restaurants, there's cafes, there's spas that you can go to. Plenty of physical activity that can be done here. Fishing, what you name it, there's everything that can be done within this whole Red Rock area. So 2 nights in Sedona. The last night in Sedona, we'll do a nice dinner within Sedona, talking about our memories of our trip, our hiking experiences, our experiences with the rangers and the tours that we went on. We'll just have a great experience of our trip and how fantastic each person had made their journey. And then we're going to go on back to Las Vegas, take a journey back to Las Vegas, have a great evening there, dinner there, explore a little more. The next day, we will go back, we'll fly home, or maybe do a post night again in Las Vegas to maybe gamble, win some money, or see a show, or whatever you feel like doing. So that is our 2 tours. And differentiators of what's happened here is you're connecting with people, you're doing more within the parks, you're interacting more with the parks themselves. You're not just stopping and seeing and stopping and taking photos. You're seeing them and you're making them your own, and that's what's important here. And you're connecting with the Native Americans, you're connecting with the geologists, the mountaineering people, the people who just live in these general areas, and it becomes more real when you're doing so. So hopefully those journeys are interesting to you, and I wanted you to see those and understand those so you understand the Club Adventures USA products. Now, we do have some 2021 tours on the way, some in North America, some elsewhere. Do want to hit here on, we are releasing our Eastern Canada, which will hit Halifax, Peggy's Cove, Cape Breton Island, Charlottetown, St. John. You'll have the opportunity to lobster lunch. We'll do the Cabot Trail. We'll do the historic Citadel site. We'll do some great activities. But Eastern Canada, if you're interested, we'll have that. Western Canada will also be offering, it's really the best of British Columbia and Victoria Island. So we'll be doing Vancouver. We'll be actually doing a foodie tour in Vancouver, seeing the sights of Vancouver, seeing the best of Vancouver and the British Columbia area. We'll also make our way over to Victoria, have to go to Bouchard Gardens and have an experience there. More to come. These tours will launch very, very, very soon. So if you're interested, keep in mind that as well. All in that same Club Adventures experience type. We'll be doing San Francisco and Napa. Again, the best of San Francisco as well as the wine country. And we'll be doing a land-only Alaska, which will include kayaking in Prince William Sound among the glaciers of that area, as well as seeing Denali National Park. So that'll be great. Other tours that we're scheduled to launch very, very, very soon. A Mexico tour, which is not a tour of a resort. It's actually the interior of Mexico and understanding, experiencing what Mexican life is. It'll start off in Mexico City and you'll really get a great sense of Mexico and the real authentic feel of Mexico. Crete Island, we'll do Norway. We'll have an Iceland Northern Lights tour as well. Now, some of the tours that are out there right now that are open for sale, national parks, which we just went through, Grand Tetons and the Yellowstone Explorer, which we just went through. We have a Costa Rica tour, if you're interested in that. Again, all in the same field that we just went through. Greece Island Discovery, which happens to be our most popular tour within Club Adventures. We have a Morocco tour, which is fantastic. We have an Azores Island Discovery. Have direct flights right out of Boston, so I know it's not that far from you guys. We have a Peru tour, fantastic. It does the Amazon as well as Machu Picchu. 2 Africa safari tours, Tanzania and Zanzibar, as well as a Kenya safari. Egypt Uncovered, which is the best of Egypt. Yes, you'll be seeing the pyramids. You're also taking a cruise down the Nile as well. And our 2 Italy trips for 2021. Cinque Terre, which is the shot I opened up with, which is the Italian Riviera area of Italy, which is northern Italy, way up in the boot. And then we also have an Amalfi Coast trip as well. So hopefully you'll be interested in these tours. Again, the same feel and that same small group adventure experience feel. All right, so we'll wind down here. Our private group departures, with only 10, we can create your own group. So if you have 10 friends, we can create its own group for you and you can have your own experience. So you have your own local leader as well. If you have 16, you pay for 16, and if you organize it, you can go for free, or you can have it any which way you want to, as far as maybe breaking down a little bit for each person. But point is, you can get a spot for free as well, and we can do some customizations on the tour if you need to have some customizations done for the tour. If you have solo travelers or you are a solo traveler, we have options, a single share program where we can connect you with a person. If you want to have your own room, we have a single supplement, and they're very, very modest, couple $100 for the tour itself. Also, instead of traveling alone, our tours offer much more security, much more safety, and a cohesiveness of a small group. Now, large groups, when you're traveling solo, they have 25 couples, and then there's 2, 3, 4 solo people on a very large tour. Here we're having 2 or 3 solos and a couple of couples, and then it's just more of a family trip, and everybody feels much more comfortable and not lost in the group. All right, so we're really winding down here, and I know we're coming up to the hour in a few minutes. I do want to take some questions, but I do want to talk to you about an announcement. You guys are actually the first people to get this announcement as far as the consumer, and we are launching our Club Adventures American Experiences, and they are coming in just a couple days. But what they are fly drive or drive only vacations where you're doing them on your own, and it's trips within the USA and Canada. So we have trips like Montreal and Quebec, where it's a customized trip already built for you, where you can experience that region on your own, where we're doing everything as far as the customization, the trip, and you're going on the trip, and everything is there for you. Nashville and Memphis, Portland and Bar Harbor, Charleston and Savannah. So many different trips, so many different places. But keep an eye out for this. I do know that we'll be doing a presentation on these experiences, but I just wanted to let you know these are coming down the pike and they'll be available to you very, very, very soon. All right, and I think the last slide, just one more here. I just want to let you know where you can connect with us. And really what I want to say here is it's very, very important that you always connect and work with your AAA travel agent. They are your personal advocate when it comes to travel. I can tell you that during this time where there's plenty of cancellations for tours, the travel agent was the one that really shined through because they made sure that their clients' trips were really taken care of and they got the best of what could happen during this time. And people who did not have a travel agent or tried to do things through online experiences just really had a hard time in helping them get through this period of time that we're going through. You can always visit us though on clubadventures.com as far as seeing what we're offering. And if you want to join us on Facebook or Instagram, we're at Travel Club Adventures, so you can join us there. All right, so I'm gonna, because of time, leave it here and just say with Club Adventures, you can see the world like you've never seen it before. And that's really something that I want you to go home or go away with. And I think there's time for a few questions if Brian come on the line, and I'll be happy to answer them.
Well, Dan, thanks. What a great program. I got to tell you, I'm really excited. As you mentioned, the U.S. rediscovering America is really going to be what we're going to see and what we're going to focus on this year. And you have some great opportunities there. And those drive opportunities through, the Northeast, we're getting a lot of requests for that. And you mentioned Maine. Bar Harbor is one of my favorite spots that I love to go to every summer. So a lot going on there as well. So thank you. Great job. And, we did have some questions throughout. I did answer a lot of them. You had a great slide on the solo traveler. Some folks asked about solo traveling. So if you want to re-elaborate a little bit on that, I think you have some great options for folks to have a solo opportunity.
Yeah, sure. So with our solo programs, we have one, we can solo share any one of our programs that are out there. So we would connect you with another person who's looking to travel solo. If you want your own room, we have a single supplement that's really, really reasonable, couple $100. We also offer, which I didn't mention here, a program called Women Explorers. So if you're a woman traveler, we have a program where the tour itself is for women only. It's the same tours that we're talking about, but we have a lot of single women traveling on those tours, and we welcome you if you're interested in those programs. Just talk to your travel agent. We have designated one departure of all our departures for that Women Explorers program. So I hope that puts a little bit more of a understanding around it. But again, talk to your travel agent. We'll be glad to explain more if you have any more questions.
Absolutely. Great. Thanks for the elaboration on that. And a question came up, and when people travel the world, many times they'll go to a place and it said no photography, or not in this museum, or not with this program. But I did get a question about pictures while you're on the trip, and I did answer it. But again, it's absolutely right. We're here to experience the U.S., and pictures are what makes the traveling adventure so exciting to share, not only with friends and family, but on social media. So pictures are probably one of the #1 things that happen on your trips.
I couldn't agree more. And I'm just going to go one step with saying, yes, we encourage photos as much as possible, but I guarantee you with a Club Adventures trip, you're not just going to walk through a photo album and show, here's this. You're actually going to tell a story of that photo, and that's what makes our trips that much more special, because you will be now remembering something that happened when you took that photo.
Absolutely. Well said. Absolutely. And, those dining experiences where you're really, so intimate and getting in local again, those are the key to club adventures, the small group size. And you know what? That's what we're going to see in the future. And what a great way to start right in the US and then experience some of those great European trips next year. So, Dan, I can't thank you enough. I would encourage all of our folks, if you have any additional questions, reach out to one of our AAA travel consultants. We're open. We have all of our associates are available virtually, and just today we opened a office in Buffalo, in Amherst, in Rochester, our Greece location, and in Syracuse, our DeWitt location. So as we start to move about a little bit, we are available at our locations, of course, with all the social distancing and CDC guidelines, but we can't wait to have you back in our locations and have you join some of our wonderful partners like Club Adventure. So Dan, thanks again, and thank you to all our participants tonight. Have a great evening, everybody.
Yes, good night. Thank you.